So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Neil and Paddy again, and we said we better come on a Tuesday and rake over the coals of what was, I suppose, pretty lackluster game for both sides. I thought really against West Ham at the City of London Stadium last Saturday. Result didn't go our way, obviously, but look, we're going to have days like that, especially when we're playing away from home. But Paddy, how are you feeling about it now? We left it a couple of days. Things simmer down.
I think I'm still feeling exactly as I did after the game. I'm neither here nor there about it really. It wasn't one I was expecting us to win. It wasn't exactly a Premier League classic that you're going to look back in years to come and there'll be reruns of it. It was probably one of the worst games I've watched this season. And yeah, we just, after getting 3 in a row, it's unfortunate that it came to an end. But as I said, for me, it was expected. The manner of it, I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get something out of it because I think we probably deserved at least a draw of it. But sure, we'll go through that now.
Yeah, I think in the cold light of day when I look back at it as well, I don't think West Ham were 2 goals better than us. I think realistically speaking, it was 2 tired teams went out against each other.
We're only 1 goal better than us.
Sorry, I don't even. I mean, they didn't even deserve to score 2 goals against us, if that makes sense. But it was a lackluster game, not helped by a referee who just decided he was going to be Mr. Let it go. Thought he was fucking awful, Paddy. I thought he was absolutely awful. It's the second game.
What, Neil?
Second game he's ref for us, and he's just been erratic from the point of view of everybody goes, oh, we'll have to see a referee that lets it flow. But if the other 20 referees in the league aren't letting it flow, and your players are going into this game, look, just.
But only the Premier League could import a referee and be worse than the absolute crap that they have there already. It just doesn't make any sense to me. He was a champion a couple of years ago as a mic'd up VAR referee. Sure, we don't know what's going on now when he has no mic because he has to behave himself. So yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why you're importing somebody to do exactly the same job as the rest of them are doing, only worse.
Yeah, and when then was it Clattenburg that they farmed out to Middle East, some league in Middle East?
Wasn't that? Didn't farm him out. He left.
Yeah.
Was that over the Ed Sheeran concert? Is that what happened there? That was the beginning of the end, was it?
I don't know. I remember what was it? Didn't he got Champions League trophy tattooed in his arm or something? That was the beginning of the end, I think. For a lot of that stuff. Anyway, he's not here to defend himself. But no, look, as I said, we went to the City of London Stadium. We were the away team. When you go to away games like that, you're going to have to try and dig in. And to be honest with you, we've seen it in Villa Park. It was our job to go there and make it as difficult for them to play as possibly could. And I thought we played some of the better football in the first half. We were very unlucky with some chances. Jacob Ramsey, the one that just springs to mind was Jacob Ramsey makes a brilliant run through the middle of their defence, and it falls to Coutinho who tries a back heel. And if it had got in, I'd still be running around the square. Shouting and roaring. I thought it was a fantastic run, and it was a great individual piece of grab the ball by the scruff or grab the bull by the scruff of the neck. I thought that was good. Danny Ings had a chance, came back off the post. Like how many times even in computer games that comes back off the post, hits the keeper, goes back into the net, whereas it comes back off the post straight into Fabianski's arm. So there's look with the game. I think it's fair enough to call it lackluster because the game wasn't a classic from both teams. But as I say, I wasn't sitting down afterwards bemoaning Aston Villa Football Club thinking that we need to sell this person or Jared, there's only a couple of games to save. No, it wasn't anything like that. We were a away team against a strong West Ham team. but neither team actually played their best football on the day, and it wasn't helped, I don't think, by the
And
by
I
the
always,
referee.
on a Monday morning, you wake up and you think about the weekend,
Mm.
and I always think to myself, it sets up your week for you. But my week was fine. I woke up Monday morning, I was over it. I was over it 5 minutes after the game ended, so nothing to worry about. It was just one of those things. It could have went either way. It didn't. We weren't robbed. We weren't done by VAR or anything like that. It was just a couple of mistakes that led to 2 goals, and we are beaten 2-1.
Yeah. There was a couple of interesting pieces I took away from the game. Like the most disappointing thing for me is it looks like we're going to be without Luca Dean for a significant period of time.
Yeah,
And I'll be honest with you, the drop off to Ashley Young, as people know, and I'm just like, I'm not doing this to be contrarian. I'm not doing this to just have somebody that I can say X, Y, and Z about, because I'm a positive guy. I usually am. I just don't think Ashley Young is of the quality. He's nowhere near the quality of Luca Dean. Nowhere near it. And the drop off is huge. West Ham didn't care about him at the weekend. Once he came on, West Ham actually filtered people right over to their left hand side, so that they could, because they knew that we had no attacking intent coming down that side from Ashley Young. If Luca Dean was there, I can guarantee you they would have kept Ben Johnson back there. But Ben Johnson moved into the middle of midfield, and he actually crowded the areas out for Coutinho, and he did it at his ease. Because they knew Ashley Young couldn't get up and down. The one time Ashley Young did get up the field, Leon Bailey loses out to Declan Rice, who makes a fantastic run up the field. Bailey should have shielded the ball a bit better. But once again, I go back to the standards of refereeing within the Premier League. We all say we want a referee that lets it flow, but that's probably a free, I would say, maybe about 70-75% of the time. That's probably a free, the way Declan Rice comes through the back of him. Bailey should have been better. Not saying that he shouldn't have been. He should have controlled that ball. He should have been able to take it around him. But Declan Rice gets a run in it. Ashley Young doesn't move for the first, I'd say, about 6 seconds when Declan Rice starts running. Pablo Fornals gets into that area where Ashley Young should be if he stayed back, or if he had went to track back.
Yeah.
But he knew he didn't have the legs to get back there anyway. But just left us completely open. Stephen Gerrard makes a comment, not specifically about it, but he mentions Leon Bailey loses the ball when we were in. Our groupings were all wrong for the position of the field that we were in, which is completely acceptable for the fact that we were attacking, and you don't really expect Declan Rice to go on a big lung buster of a run like he did there. But we lost it, and our groupings were wrong. But our groupings were wrong, probably because we were chasing the game. But Ashley Young, the only way he would have got back there is if he caught a bus.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That's not to say Luca Dean might have struggled to get back there either, but I would have a lot more faith in Luca Dean in the attacking side of things and the defensive side of things, because we got nothing going from the attacking side of things with Ashley Young either, and I'm struggling to see how far forward he's going to be able to get.
It all depends who you're up against as well. I was disappointed when Luca Dean went off, but I was completely fine. Just going back to that Leon Bailey thing, if you're in the attack like that, 30 yards from goal, you shouldn't be giving the ball away there. That is the number one rule when you're trying to create a counter. You keep the ball in those positions until you can find a little space to play it through or to get it to the byline and cross it. Yes, I think it was a foul. You're talking about a lung buster.
The ball was played into Bailey, and like he got to Bailey and the ball more or less the second Bailey got the ball, though. So maybe it was McGinn's ball was
possibly, yeah. And then McGinn got too close because.
Sorry, Paddy, I'm cutting over you. I really apologize. I'm just thinking back to it now, and if somebody's rewatching the game later, just look at it. The actual ball, the correct ball was probably the ball out to fucking Ashley Young, not to Leon Bailey. So here's me giving out the correct ball, because he was in his own. He was in acreage on his own in an attacking position. But Pablo Fornals literally had to run of the game to get into that position afterwards. Sorry, Paddy. Sorry. Go for it.
Well, the Declan Rice one, because we were too far forward. Well, not too far forward, because we were where we were supposed to be, going to try and take the game. All he needed to do was one minor sidestep, and he had McGinn on his arse. Now, it was unfortunate McGinn fell, but I don't think there was any way he was catching him with him facing the goal. He's deceptively quick. in fairness to him, I don't have much time for him, but he's deceptively quick. And look, we I'd like to say we were beaten by the better team, but we weren't. I think it could have been, as you say, go back to that Danny Ings chance. I think that goes the other side of the post, and we're the ones defending for our lives for the rest of the game. They're in trouble when Moyes is out absolutely berating referees for absolutely no reason. Maybe our guy needs to start doing that when we're 2-1 down, or when the other team are chasing it back in. And he just gets away with murder. The fourth official is standing there, and he's about 10 yards outside his technical area, which is half a mile long as it is. And the fourth official is just talking to him, not like get back in your box. Like, it's crazy stuff. But
Horrible stadium.
it's absolutely horrendous. Like I want to go and see it for myself. I was supposed to go this time, but it just didn't happen for many reasons. But I want to go next year just to see how bloody bad it is. All of the horror stories I've read on social media from friends of mine that were there, they're just too far from it. There's just nothing going for it. There's nothing around it. It's soulless. There's nobody singing. There's no banter. Like, anyone can sing "Blowing Bubbles," but there's only so many times you can sing it. You know what I mean? When they're coming in, and when they're going out. So I don't know. I don't know what possessed them, other than probably money, to move to that stadium.
Yeah. I suppose at the time they were a different proposition as well. If I'm right in saying, when was it that they moved there? Was it 2000 and... It was after the Olympics, wasn't it? 2012. So it would have been 2013 or 14. They
even later. I think
just...
I think I went to Upton Park in 2015. So I'm nearly sure it was 2015. So maybe 2016
Maybe so.
they started there.
Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, this isn't Ground Watch. We'll have one of those some other time. But yeah, I suppose just kind of like, and we're only raking over the coals. This won't be like a 45-minute podcast on it at all. But the thing for me in the game, look, that their strong players stayed strong from minute 1 to minute 96, because there was a lot of minute 97, whatever it was at the end.
Yeah.
I don't think our players flagged as bad as a lot of people did. But I do think that we like their first goal, call it for what it is. Their first goal, Yarmolenko finds space. Fair play to him for the space, but that'll put toe poke finish. That puts every defender in the league on the back foot, because it was just so quick and fast. Yeah, he's got 5 yards too much space in the box. 100%, I agree. But like, if he swings at that, the only way he can get a clean shot on goal like that, I think, is with the poke that he goes for. And fair play to him for trying it. It was like very emotional time for him, first time back on the field that since his country was in the turmoil that it's in, and he showed the emotion. But that gives the team an awful lot of leverage, because I thought that they were going nowhere up until that moment, and they really weren't. Mikel Antonio had gone off, Cresswell had gone off, and I thought the game was going to be there for the taking for us. And they just got that goal at that real opportune time. I think it was in the 70th minute, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Real opportune time for them. And we couldn't move back up through the gears again, I don't think, until
I feel the game changed on Antonio's on his injury, because he was toothless. He struggled to get into the game, and then all of a sudden he goes off injured. Yarmolenko comes on, and it's 1-0. It's just our luck.
But that's good, Paddy. For the whole game, they were ultra and overly physical. Like, and let's not say that was like, you see it all over the place. You see that West Ham bullied us out of the game. What do you expect? That's their fucking tactic.
Yeah.
Their tactic is to be stronger than everybody. That's why they've got two mountains of defensive midfielders in Rice and Souček. That's why Craig Dawson plays centre half for them. Craig Dawson is in there, and that's why Mikel Antonio is up there. They're there to bruise you. We had two players that were bleeding in the game.
Yeah,
So that's what you get. So and yes, to a decent extent, they did bully us out of it. But what I would say, like that's where it comes back to the inconsistency of the refereeing as well. There's a lot of times people go through the back of Villa players there in that game, and you can say, "Oh, get up! You need to be stronger on the ball." But you just can't. If you're trying to control the ball and someone comes right up and knees you up the hole, like, what can you really do? It's just one of those things. You'll get away with it sometimes. You won't. They're the home team. I'm doing a 180, almost a 180 based on 2 podcasts ago when I said home and away doesn't matter. I think from sometimes when you look at it in a game like that, when one team is way more physically adept than the other, that the home status does affect again from that point of view. And I think you kind of do almost let the home team set the tone of how physical the game is going to be. Douglas Luiz gets kicked in the head, very, very grey area, there, but that doesn't help us, the fact that there's a grey area there. Fernand's foot was wildly high, it was wildly high, and there's cutting a man's face there or whatever. Yeah, look, it's only a cut. He's going to live, but little things like that, just a bit annoying. They didn't influence the game that much, but, we could have still won. We could have still won. They could have still been as physical as they needed to be. It's just, I think the Armeniaco goal really turns the whole thing in its head.
Well, of course it does.
The time when it happens.
It allows them to park the bus and hit us on the break, which is exactly what they did. And if you look back, we went back to the days of last season of those chipped balls in on top of Burnley. Absolutely wasted time putting the balls in like that against West Ham. But we were just out of options. If we got to the byline and tried to pull it back, the 2 central midfielders are sitting there waiting to clear it up. They had us once they went 1-0 up. I knew it was game over at that stage. Having said that, we worked very hard to get back into the game. We looked like we still had some legs, which was a pity. We didn't see that earlier in the game. So, give them a little bit of kudos for that. We looked like the fitter of the 2 teams for the last 10 minutes.
That as well. And I think we're in the minority, Paddy. I think we're in the minority to think that.
No, well, like we created chances. We did. We were running at them. I thought we did fairly well in the last 10 minutes. We just couldn't. They're just one of those teams that you just cannot go behind against, and let alone go 2 behind. You've some hope at 1. You might get a bit of luck. You might get a long range effort. You might get a smart bit of play, like we saw even Buendia. Everyone's shouting at him to shoot. And he was clever enough to pull it back to, well, maybe he wasn't clever enough, maybe just the way it panned out, but he got it back to Ramsey in a much better position to use the defender as a wall and curl it around him. So there's more. I think there's more.
Let's talk about that before we move on, Paddy. Jacob Ramsey's finish. Like we've been like the man on the sideline in the overcoat, Stephen Gerrard, must have been looking at that going, fuck me, I would have been proud of that myself, and what I mean by this is, yes, it was all in vain. Well, really, actually, at the time it wasn't. There was like 6 or 7 minutes still left on the clock, granted, because of injury time. We couldn't really get the ball back from them. I think afterwards they kind of really went into contain mode, into tortoise mode, which is their prerogative and which you would expect from a team like that. That's and remember when we did the pre-match team sheet tantrum. I still believe this. West Ham are 2 years ahead of us with regards to the implementation of even just the synergy between the team, how the players know each other, play amongst each other, the implementation of Moyes' instruction as well. But Jacob Ramsey, I thought that finish gives me massive hope for this man's development has been fantastic. The carrying of the ball, the ability to play through the center, essentially, and then when he comes up and he starts smacking him in from outside the box.
Was it Arsenal he did it against as well?
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Yeah.
He made a brilliant run for the Norwich goal, but in the end he smacked it home as well. So he's got it in his locker. I thought he looked off the pace Thursday night, and I'll give him his dues. I thought he was much better right from the word go. I thought he was much better and much more on it on Sunday for sure.
We also there's another kind of thing that I think that we're going through waves this season, Paddy, and I didn't expect this game to be one of those ones where everything went right, but we're going through waves of being very good at set pieces and getting goals and blocks and bunches from set pieces, and then teams really cottoning on to what we're doing and then having to change it up again. If you notice, start of the season, Nanny McPhee, absolute legend on the line, a rock star on the line. We were getting goals from set pieces. Courtney House gets a goal from a set piece against Manchester United. We go dry for a while. Gerrard comes in. We start getting goals from set pieces again. We go dry. I think we got a goal. So.
But in fairness, Neil, that's how it works. That is how it works. That's unless you've got a James Ward-Prowse or a David Beckham in there that is regularly pinging one into the top corner. And let's face it, even James Ward-Prowse was dried up on that front as well. So it does go in fits and starts. It goes in peaks and troughs. People do study your set pieces. They do work on defending against certain set pieces. They know the signs. They're looking at them all day Friday before they go out at the weekend. That is how the modern game is. So you do have to mix it up, and that's why you've got an Austin McPhee there to change things up and look at different ways. And I said the only other way you're going to have a team constantly scoring from set pieces is if you've got big burly men in the box that are constantly winning headers from corners or from free kicks.
Tyrone Mings had a chance at the very end. Corner came in, I think it was. He was on the back post with Dawson, maybe. I think it might have been Dawson. And he got up over him. And it just came off the side of his head. Maybe he goes across the goals again and tries to create a screwball scramble moment. You know, that can happen. I remember in the first half, there was I don't know, was it a free or was it a corner kick where they went low across the box to Coutinho and he fresh aired it. Just like, which is completely on Coutinho. Like, that was probably going to hit a Forest of bodies if he did hit it. But what I was trying to get at was that there was the slight variation to the set pieces. And if we start scoring those again, and I think we're a team at the moment who needs to score from set pieces against the bigger teams to give ourselves a chance, because our chance creation in the second half wasn't good. We missed the 2 chances we got in the first half, and we did score a goal at the very end from an absolute thunderbolt from outside the box. So going back to what I mentioned about West Ham, the synergy of the team, the way they know how to play, the way they implement Moyes' game plan, when you bring people off the bench like a Yarmolenko and like who came on? Issa Diop came on. Who came on for Cresswell? Fredericks. When those guys come in again, it's a lot easier to slot into positions there when you're 2-3 years down the line of implementation. So they're.
But like as we said in the team sheet tantrum, they're not a great side. They're just a well set up bunch of players and well managed bunch of players. And you know, financially, they haven't really put a whole lot of money into that team. Otherwise, they would have bought the likes of Jesse Lingard at the start of the season or even in January. I don't believe they could put their hands on that kind of money. We could have, and we didn't. So, you know, we're in it for the long haul. You know, and I think that's why I wasn't getting annoyed. As you say, they're 2 years, maybe even 3 years further down from where we are. But I think we'll surpass them quicker than the 2 or 3 years, if you get me.
Yeah, I think we surpass them if we can keep things, if we can keep the core group that we have now.
Of course, yeah. And there's, you know, everybody seems to be happy except for Carney if what we're being told is true today or yesterday, whatever that came out, which is really annoying me because we could do without someone saying that he can't see a path to the first team when he's had a number of chances at age 18, a lot more chances than Jacob Ramsey has had at that age, and he's a couple of years further down the line. So, you know, that annoyed me a bit. That annoyed me more to be listening to those murmurings again than the actual result itself.
I think that was I think that comment was a rehash of the old comment, but there was a link to Dortmund. Yeah, I think it was something that was just slipped in as a rehash when the link to Dortmund came up.
But did Gerrard say something about it? Oh, something over the weekend?
He said something about he did
It'd be decided in the summer.
Something along the lines of we don't. Yeah, it came across as, look, we've done our speaking on it. It has to come from the other side now. We'll talk in the summer. It was kind of something like I could be wrong in the sentiment from that. But yeah, that's definitely one to look at. Just before we leave the topic of the game itself, this is how we actually set up. So based on who scored, this is how the team set up. I've got Ashley Young and I've got Luca Dean here. So Luca Dean usually, I can't get Luca Dean here, so sorry lads there. No. Okay, so Luca Dean is usually farther forward in all the other games, but when in who scored, when somebody goes off as early as that, they don't update the numbers for the person who comes on that plays the more minutes. What they do is they seem to integrate the 2 players in and then get an average position for the 2 players. So when we look at where Ashley Young came on, Ashley Young comes on and he plays further back, so his attacking prowess isn't there. And as I say, I'd love nothing more than Ashley Young to come in and be Luca Dean. I'm having a difficult time seeing where we get that attacking impetus from the left hand side without Luca Dean in there, because I don't think we get it from Ashley Young at 37, going on 37 years of age. He'll be 37 on the 20th of July, or the 9th of July. Luca Dean is 29 on the 20th of July, and bear in mind as well, guys, Ashley Young didn't start playing the left back position properly. He played 22 games when he was 32 years of age, and it's just little things like that that it's all well and good that he could come in for spot places, and until we know how long Luca Dean is going to be out, I do think it's going to be an issue, unfortunately. Now, go out there and play the absolute best he can, and he can be solid. It's just what Luca Dean brings to the team. This isn't me saying Ashley Young is absolute tripe. Absolutely not. Do not take that away from this. It's me saying that Ashley Young can come in there, but we're going to be affected going forward on that left-hand side without Luca Dean. And as a result, if Ashley Young does go up and get forward, we're going to be affected in defence, because Luca Dean for me is a superior left back to Ashley Young. And I think it's a big drop down of all the positions. I think it's probably the biggest drop down of anyone to get injured. For somebody to come in is Ashley Young to come in for Luca Dean. That's just my opinion on it. But this is the way we set up. West Ham set up this way. I'll try and bring in their team here. So they set up like this, and we can see here where the two centre halves basically just kept it narrow. We can see here 28 is Souček. Underneath 28 there, you'll notice that there's another player. That's number 31. That's Ben Johnson. So Ben Johnson, once Luca Dean came off, Ben Johnson just moved into the middle of midfield, crowded out for Coutinho in there, because they knew we didn't have the options to get up and down that flank. So this is what the worry is here, that they could bring someone in here to stifle. Now, were we not cute enough to get the ball out to Ashley Young? We should have absolutely done that. We should have maybe got the ball to Ashley Young a small bit more, maybe pushed him up a small bit more, see where we could have got with him. But I suppose we'll see a different setup with him in there is kind of what I'm getting at. We can see over here that we have 22 is Ben Rama and Cresswell. They basically pushed Matty Cash back. I thought Matty Cash had a fine game though. He played well. Antonio stood on Chambers, which was kind of something we were wondering about at the start of the game, Paddy. I think in the team sheet tantrum, we were saying that if we could keep Tyrone Mings away from the physical aspect of Mikel Antonio, that would play into our favour, and it kind of did. Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, I think Antonio was targeting Chambers, thinking this guy's only after coming into the team.
Yeah,
I'll give him a run, and that would have been a typical Moyes tactic from what I could see, but didn't get any change out of him. As I said, he was missing in action most of the game, so we have to give Chambers a little bit of credit for that too.
Absolutely, I think so too. What I see from this is that we set up really well. I like the way that we set up in this game. It's a very stable formation. It's a formation. It's a setup that I'd like to see when we are away from home. I thought it was a nice setup away from home, so we could stifle a team, and we did. I'd love to know what would have happened if Luca Dean had stayed on and we could have stretched them down the left-hand side a small bit more, and kept Ben Johnson out of going in there into that midfield position, because what he did there inside there was he was able to mind the house back there, where maybe a Declan Rice runs forward. Maybe Declan Rice doesn't have the opportunity to run forward for that second goal if he doesn't have cover inside there as well. So just little things like this, and it's all speculative, an awful lot of what I'm saying here, but it's trying to rake over the coals of what happened for those two goals, and see if we can get better from it, because we have Arsenal coming up at the weekend, Paddy, and they're going to it's
a different proposition. Yeah. I suppose the only thing that baffles me a little bit looking at that is why we didn't set up Bailey to come in off the left. He was constantly on the right hand side. Now I know he went over there once or twice, but he was predominantly on the right hand side. Just a little thing, but if there was that much space, maybe Gerrard saw the space down the right there as well, as you can see. So anyway,
I think potentially, and I'm going to get rid of that here. I think potentially Sorry. I think potentially what we wanted to do was spread them out wider. And as we know, Bailey came on for Ings. So maybe we went a small bit wider because Coutinho his preference would be to come in off the left. So maybe we went a small bit wider there. And then instead of having Coutinho play straight through the center and Bailey move over to the left hand side, maybe it was something along those lines. I don't know. I don't have a position map for where Bailey played when he came on,
but even when Buendia came in, it was a perfect
Yeah.
opportunity to switch them over, I thought. But anyway,
Yeah, that's true.
But he like, in fairness to Bailey, he did come in and he did hit one rasper of a shot, which was on target as well, straight at the keeper, unfortunately. But seen a lot of people going all in on him as well this week. I think we just got to be a little bit, standoffish with this. You can't be going all in on players who haven't played in months and haven't had much of an opportunity. They're our player. We need to get behind them and back them.
100%.
There's a number of things I wouldn't be happy with, and Leon Bailey wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of comments there, as we completely neglected the comments tonight. Apologies about that. Sean, good to see you. Sean KMG, hi lads. Grant to be seeing you, and good to be seeing you too, Sean. Johnny, hope you're well too, sir. Thank you so much for watching. The game gave us exactly what Stevie said, perspective in our midfield profile, and that's a good message to the owners and music to the fans' ears. I completely neglected to mention that. He did mention something like that in his, I can't remember, it was the pre or post-match interview. He said that it was going to be a test of our midfield, and look, their midfield came up trumps, but it's very difficult to stop that midfield too, because they're very good, so it definitely is something. If we can catch lightning in a bottle and catch and find two people, or find somebody like a Souček who comes in for what relatively, I think he comes in alone and then he signs for like 12-15 million for them. What's your worth now? You'll probably double that and add an extra 5 onto it. So that's where Villa need to get to in the market and try and find somebody in that defensive midfielder position.
And it is the profile is frightening to look at a set piece, defending a set piece, and you've got Buendia swinging out of big Souček and stuff like that, or even Coutinho. It's nuts.
Yeah. Camera Baby says, thought you were a bit harsh earlier. I didn't think the performance was that bad. We were outclassed in the central defensive midfield area, but there's nothing Gerrard can do about that. Yeah. Performance that was more lackluster, I suppose.
I don't know whether we didn't say it was that bad. We said it was a poor game. It was a poor game. It was one of the poorer games of the weekend that I saw. I didn't think the performance was that bad, bearing in mind that both teams had played on Thursday night as well. So it was just a case of us not having the wherewithal to break down their system, and that's the way I looked at it. But we did get a couple of chances. We talked about that Danny Ings chance a few times. So no, the performance wasn't that bad. The game itself, I thought, was terrible.
Con Kelly says, hi lads, hope you're well. Do you think it was the system or fatigue issue caused? Because for me, we tucked in too much and it flooded the wide areas, especially notable when Dini went off. Yeah, I think it was more so. I'm not even going to call it the system. I just think it was a series of unfortunate events, and it just shows how much width Dini gives us in that side of the field. And we do need to replace that, whether it's a Jacob Ramsey goes a bit wider, whether it's a Coutinho starts from out on the left or something. We do need to replace that width, because he is. You go back, you watch the Leeds game, I was going to say the Southampton game, but he didn't play in that at all. You watch the Leeds game, see the amount of width that Dini gives us, see the ball that he whips in that Watkins misses, that comes to Coutinho, and Coutinho puts it in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Things like that are going to be sorely missed, because he bombs up and down that left-hand side like it's no one's business, and he's a pivotal player in this system. He really is for me. So Villa Bloke 1970 says, I think Gerrard needs to take responsibility for most of that result. The team need changing up. They were blowing before half time. We've kind of covered that, I think, ourselves, Paddy. I'm 100% okay with being in the minority with thinking that we matched them we didn't match them for physicality, but I don't think that we really ran out of steam. I thought, if anything, they looked like the team that were running out of steam before the goal more, and then the goal energized them. But I'm okay with being in the minority with that.
Yeah, I think when he says we were blowing before half time, to me that's, we were blowing and struggling to create chances. We couldn't. We were trying to break them down. That's maybe. True. Yeah. But I definitely think in the last 10 minutes, or the last 16 minutes, we'll call it, because there was 6 minutes injury time, I thought we could have if we had a few more minutes, we probably would have got an equaliser. But hey ho.
Yeah. I can pick out a couple of other ones there. Standing on the word says we should now try a 4-2-2-2. The left back and right back to push up to play wing backs. This way we can have both Bundia and Coutinho behind two strikers, Ings and Watkins. I'm not brave enough to do that yet. I think we get absolutely blown out of the water at times. Look, when you look at that tactic, Southampton are playing that for years and they still can't master it. That's a very specific tactic. It'd be great if we could play it because it, as I say, you just go back and you look at any pre-match that we've done for Southampton. It's the weirdest tactic, and teams find it absolutely. If Southampton can get on top of teams like they were in that 10 games, it can become really, really difficult to play against. But it becomes so open in other aspects as well. And as I say, that's why Southampton are so erratic sometimes, is because of their formation. Now, it would be great if you could get. It seems to be a new tactic and continent on the continent. It seems to be played a small bit more widely. But it's. I don't know. I kind of like the tactic that we have here at the moment. I think what we're seeing at the moment in the way our team has been set up since we went on that goal scoring spree, I'm beginning to like it because I think the players seem to be comfortable in it for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
Paddy, thoughts on Bailey's role in the team that doesn't play with wingers, or is he a pseudo striker? We've kind of gone over that before, but I don't think I'm rolling back on that now.
Well, I'm going to leave it till the Arsenal preview, and I will encourage people to come back and listen to what I have to say about how I think we should line up against Arsenal.
Where else are we? Vish says we have too much depth to be complaining about tiredness. We need to utilize the squad and keep all of them well oiled. What's the point in having such in-depth squad if not using them at the right time? We kind of went through that. As I say, completely understand that people are going to feel that the team was ran out of steam. I think the substitutions were the right substitutions. The tactical ones that came on, Buendia and Bailey. I can't fault him for bringing those two players on because they were active. And then obviously Ashley Young coming on as left back in the first 10 minutes, that does limit you from where you can actually freshen things up as well. So I think systematically the Ashley Young substitution dictated what we could do in changing up the tactics. But we do have a good squad. And it's nice to have a good squad. And we'll see what Arsenal brings at the weekend. What else have we? What do you guys think about the Mings interview? Didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, and
I don't even know what reference it is.
He did an interview for the Aston Villa Foundation last night, an evening with Tyrone Mings. I presume he's talking about. It's available on Villa TV, so that's actually my viewing for this evening. Seeing as I've got the TV to myself for a few days.
Yeah, it's. I still haven't watched the Emmy Martinez.
Come on, Neil! It's so last week.
I know it's so last week is right, and I wouldn't mind, but I've okay. Do you really want to know what's happened? I've moved 3 tons of soil with my bare hands. I feel like the Bull McCabe over. If anybody knows the film, The Field, I feel like the Bull McCabe. That's what I've been doing. I haven't had time to be watching videos. I might do it tonight. We'll see. It's 50 minutes. Like, where'd you find 50 minutes with a 4-month-old child? God, like, it's barely get out here to do podcasts, and sometimes I have to bring her with me. But yes, I must watch it. I still haven't gotten around to it yet. But we're beginning to ramble, guys. We actually only planned on coming out here for 15 minutes, but we got into a nice conversation. Thanks so much to you guys for joining us and for tuning in. As Standing on the Word says, if you could hit the like button, the thumbs up button there, that really, really help us. And I really, really appreciate it. If you're not a subscriber to the podcast, really appreciate it if you're to subscribe as well. Danny, thank you so much for that. Really, really appreciate it. Danny says that he thought we matched West Ham very well. If Fabianski doesn't pull off one of those saves of the season, the game might have ended differently. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the goalkeepers. Fabianski makes a brilliant save. in the game. But Emi Martinez makes a dinger of a save from Kurt Zuma's
Absolutely.
header as well.
Yeah.
What a save that was. It was brilliant. And I know Dawson comes straight out to Dawson who puts it over the bar, but my God, he would that was point blank bullet range, you know. So the two goalkeepers did have a big say in the game as well. For a game that we were saying was lackluster and didn't have a lot of chances, we're after naming, I'd say, about 8 or 9 decent chances in the game. But I think it was everything in between those at times. But thanks very much, Danny. Really, really appreciate it. And thanks so much to everybody for watching, for listening, as always. And we will be back with a preview show. It won't be tomorrow. It probably won't be Thursday because it's St. Patrick's Day, and you know what us Irish like to do on St. Patrick's Day. It may be Friday, and we may need makeup to cover the black eyes that we will have, the black rings underneath our eyes. But we will be back at some stage before the Arsenal game on Saturday with a preview. And then obviously we won't, sorry, I was going to say, obviously we will be back with a team sheet tantrum. Just getting it out there, guys. We won't have a team sheet tantrum for Arsenal this weekend because both of us are away. And otherwise, we won't be able to get to the computers. So, all good things and all that. You know, breaking our streak of team sheet tantrums, Paddy. God, we've gone through some of them. I've done them from cars. You've done them. I've done them from cars and bars, and you've done them from Villa Park and the whole suite.
White Hart Lane.
Yeah, White Hart Lane, exactly. Yeah, but unfortunately, we won't be able to do the one for Arsenal this weekend. But we will be back. Will be news in the team sheet tantrum coming actually very, very soon. So keep an ear and an eye out for that. But we're going to wrap it up there for tonight, lads. Thanks so much to everybody. Really, really appreciate everything you do for the podcast. And we will see you later on in the week for a preview of the Arsenal game. But all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.